Okay, this is the take-home test how-to. Just little notes. For number one, what is 138%? That should be of, it's a typo, of 250. So, is over of. So, 138 has to be over 100. That's the percent. Is over of, percent over 100. So, it's 138 over 100 equals, and this is what is over of, and then of 250. So then you would just cross multiply, then divide by 100. Cross multiply these two, and those are big numbers. After you multiply them, divide by 100. Dividing by 100, as a shortcut, just move the decimal over twice. So just divide it out. I'm not going to divide it for you. Okay, you can do it. Looking at number two, these are your hints to help you. You have to do the work. What percent of 80 is 8? So what percent, it's x over 100 because it's percent over 100 equals 8 over 80. Okay, so you would simply cross multiply and cross multiply, and you divide by 80. So once you cross multiply, get this work for you a little bit, 800 equals 80x. Okay, and then divide both sides by 80. I practically did this one for you. So that's all I'm going to say. Okay, so moving on. Let's look at number three. Number three. Estimate. So we can say 49% can be like 0.50. 49% can be 0.5 and times 15. That'll give you the answer. I'm not going to say anything else about that one. 4, you get 3/4%. So you can change 3/4% to 0.75. It's easier to work with a decimal. Of means multiply, and then you have 387. Okay, that's your hint on that one. Since you're estimating, let's just make that 400. That'll make it easier to multiply. Okay, and number 5, we has what number is 74% of 58. So you don't have to write an equation. Let's just do the same way we did before. So since we didn't get to go over that as much, so the proportion, just set up as a proportion like we did in the other ones. X over 58 equals 74 over 100. Okay, you got it? And then cross multiply 58 times 74, then divide by 100. And number 6, 80% of what number is 14? So 14 over x equals 80%, percent over 100. So it's is over of. So that'll be 89 over 100. Okay, and so you would cross multiply like we did before, right there. So, and then divide by 89. Okay, so now we're going to move on to number 7. Remember we did this before. To determine the percent of change, we first determine if it's an increase. So in number 7, you went from 100 to 150. So you see it went up. It's an increase. So you subtract the numbers, right? So you see it's 50 is a difference over the original amount. So the original amount is 100, okay? And you just change that to a percent. So we know that's an increase. Okay, so you can reduce that, you change it to a percent. You know that's the same as 1/2. So 1/2 is what percent? I'm not giving you the answer. Number 8, you do the same way. You subtract 300 to 200. So this was a decrease, but it was a difference of 100, right? And the beginning or the original is 300. So it's a decrease. Okay, we know it's a decrease, but what percent is it? So tell me what that is. What percent decrease? And number 9, 30 to 90, we see it's an increase, and you're increasing by 60. That's a large increase over the original, which is 30. So if you divide that, you see that that's 2. It's not increased by 2 because you got to change that to a percent. So 2, a whole number 2, is how many or how much percent increase. So let's move on. So determine the cost or selling price to the nearest tenth. So if you look at number 10, you have a $2, $20 haircut, 15% tip. You want to know the selling cost. So you're going to get the $20 times 0.15. Okay. So once you multiply that, that's for the tip. Once you multiply that and move the decimal, I'll do the first one and you do all the rest. It's going to give you the amount of the tip. So when you multiply 20 times 0.15, that's only going to give you the amount of the what? The tip. Okay, so now we have 003. We'll move the decimal. It's a $3 tip, right? So the first step is, you multiply. Okay, so you know that it is a $3 tip. Now, what is the total? What is the total? So you got to add the tip to the haircut. So the total is 20 plus 3. So you see the total is $23. Now that's the only sample I'm going to give you because it's all about the same thing. Number 11, $35 lamp, 5% tax. You multiply, get the tax, then add it to the 5%. Then you do 12, 13. So on the second page, we have the simple interest. Remember, an interest for numbers 14 through 16. You know, to find the interest is principal times the rate times the time. That's the last thing we did. So the principal is the amount of money, which on the number 14 is 1,000. And then times the rate is 0.05, which is a 5%. And then times the time, which is $2. You only can multiply 2 numbers at a time. So you multiply the 1,000 times 0.05, get your answer, then multiply that times 2. Okay, and on number 15, you can change 6.5% to 0.065 because 1/2 is the same as 1/2 is the same as 5. So you can just change that up. And don't forget about number 16 is for 6 months, not a whole year. So you would multiply 850 times 0.04 times 1/2. So that's 6 months. It's a half of a year. Okay, so looking at number 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21 to 22. So from the word problems, you can look in the book and you can choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 word problems. You can do 3 of the 6, okay? So 3 of the 6, so you would have a total of 19 problems. 19 total problems. So just do 3 of the 6, any 3 you choose, and that's it.